after tonight. You don't have to look up at the stars. No, 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 no.
Come take a look at my dream world.
Tonight. You don't have to look up at the stars.
Chat, if you wanna come get it, then come for it. I'm so clean, my kick's nice, I'm Chuck Norris. Minute made the beat bounce, had to jump on it. Run for it, run, Gump Forrest Gump like hollow pumps, you gotta jump. No trouble, no double, I got a stun. You don't have to look up at the stars. Make one wish, you're looking at a star. Swag so fresh, you can put it in the jar. And the way I change gear, you can put me in the car. I remember when me and Seif used to sneak in every concert door. Now I got my feet in. Every day is Get Friday, no weekend.
You don't have to look up at the stars.
Your favorite live sports show not named GreenBaje Podcast. Yes, indeed, it is. Hashtag this just in. And a special World Cup episode we have, arguably the greatest World Cup final that we've ever watched. Yeah, you saw the two men shaking their head, but we're going to get to them very shortly. Argentina captured their third World Cup in history of their country after surviving one furious and memorable comeback from France to win on penalties after tied 3-3 in regulation and extras. Argentina did win, but we don't have any winners here because two of the guys here support France, and the other guy had to watch his most hated rival, Argentina, win the World Cup. Oh my God, I'm surrounded by a bunch of losers. There's some of my friends, though. Who did win, though? Lionel Messi. And we'll start off that page before we get to the actual World Cup. A record 6 Ballon d'Ors, 4 Champions League finals or titles, now 2 Golden Balls, a Copa America, which was seemingly elusive for him, but even more elusive now, he has finally that World Cup title. I won't start with 2 Frenchmen because it's going to be hard. Ken, I'm going to come to you. Now that he has that World Cup title to round off a magnificent career, does Lionel Messi finally have a claim on the greatest ever to go like Pele and Maradona?
So I'm kind of glad that you came to me early, because for those of you who are accustomed to seeing or hearing me when I come here, you recognize my voice is a little bit not quite there today because I'm fighting against a bit of a bug. And in the spirit that my GreenBaje brother had when my Brazil went home, this bottle is filled with the tears of the Frenchmen today. So I'm just going to be using this to soothe my throat every once in a while, just to make sure that I don't cough on camera. No, to the question that you asked, Justin, does Messi have a claim now as the greatest ever? I would say that before he won the World Cup, he already had a claim, because Messi has had probably the greatest calendar year of any goal scorer in history, where he almost scored 100 goals between January and December. Messi, up until winning the World Cup today, this was the only thing that he was missing in his resume. As you said, multiple Ballon d'Ors, multiple Champions League wins. For the majority of his career, he has been in Spain, and he has been part of a dominant period for Barcelona in Spain. So there are some that are going to look at the fact that he did majority of his damage in one league. Now he's currently with Paris Saint-Germain, which is another team that's expected to dominate their own domestic league. They were said that could be used against him, but the fact still remains that it's not as if to say he was a passenger on these teams. He was the straw that was stirring coffee every time for Barcelona to be as successful as they were. Yes, they had a system. Yes, they had other great players, but they also had Messi, who was scoring 40 to 60 goals a season. Now, he has won the World Cup, which gives me no particular joy, because as a Brazil fan, I will never want Argentina to lift any trophy that we are also in the running for. However, when I'm forced to look at what happened in this tournament, I had to choose between two evils, two teams that I definitely
Very
did not want to see playing in the final, to the point where I had said in some spaces that I was hoping that one player on both teams would have been caught for doping and both teams would have been disqualified. I am happy from Messi's perspective that he has what his resume was missing. And congratulations to the Argentines, their fans, and everyone for achieving something that all of us set out to do when this tournament began.
Mario, you would not have seen the likes of Pele or Maradona, but you've seen the entirety of Messi's career.
Mm-hmm.
With this title, that also comes along with the second Golden Ball. Is he now the greatest of all time?
I've always felt that the topic of the greatest of all time is very, very subjective. I mean, you can always look at stats and say, these stats can indicate that this person is the best or whatever. And I have my own opinion on who's the best player I've ever seen. But based on his accolades and, the resume and his longevity, the longevity at a high level, because you can play for a long time and be average or not very good. I guess you can say he's the best. I'm not a Messi fan, to be fair. And over the years, even as an Arsenal supporter, I would always say Ronaldo is better based on his versatility. But I guess you can't really argue with all that Messi has achieved. So sure, I'll give it to him.
Oh,
Begrudgingly.
Begrudgingly. Get to that there shortly. AJ, fellow France fan, do you agree? Does Messi have a claim as the greatest of all time? Or are you an old school guy that's not going to let go of the Pele Maradona times?
Well, the thing is, it's funny that you mentioned that because, of course, he has a claim. Messi does have a claim because, accolades-wise, this was the one thing that he was missing, right? The World Cup, and he got it. So the thing is that this generation that has seen Messi win this World Cup is going to tell the next generation of how great Messi was winning the World Cup. And our generation, who have seen other people win World Cups before, will not be as influential. So it's going to be passed down that Messi was. And to be fair, it's the same way that we have all heard that Pele and Maradona. Have either of you all ever heard like any of our predecessors talking about no, and any of our predecessors saying that that Pele or Maradona had a bad game? Because if I was to listen to them, you would swear that these men never played a bad game in their life.
Agreed.
It's true.
Exactly. So this is what we hear from them, and I feel like this is the same thing that's going to be passed down. And when it comes to arguing the greatest of all time, it's not just talent, but accolades come into play, right? Messi in his generation is one of the only players to have all of these awards. One of in conjunction with how he plays, right? And in the longevity of it and all that. So he will have an argument to be. Whether he is or not, I'm not going to say. And you could call me bitter or salty. I'm not going to say right now. I don't care. I don't know if he is or not, but I think he does have a claim to be up in there.
I love it.
He does. He has a claim to be in there,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not sure if at this point I would say that he definitively is. But definitely based on how the GOAT conversation goes, I can't say that Messi, because if you ask me, I would say that, well, yeah, it will. If R9 didn't get an injury, he's the greatest player I've ever seen.
Me too.
True.
Me too. Best player I've
Exactly.
ever seen.
That's our generation.
Mm.
So the next generation is going to hear the same thing about Messi. So he does have a claim. I don't think that we can definitively say at this point, just because you want to World Cup in this reactionary sense, that well, yeah, Messi's the GOAT. The GOAT debate is done.
I
But
will say,
it is.
though, he has a long list of records and accolades, as all three of you mentioned. And another accolade I didn't realize is that today, with that, historic finals appearance or performance. He is the first man en route to the final to have scored in every knockout game. I did not know that was never done before. So just with this finals appearance and finals victory alone, it kind of stacks up his resume. But this World Cup was not just about Lionel Messi, because that final, my gosh, I'm not sure about you guys, but I've been watching World Cup football since 1994, and I can't remember seeing a better final than this. So this time, Mario, will start with you. Considering Argentina took a quick 2-0 lead, France comes back in a fury, and then still after leveling to all, leveled again. Is this the greatest World Cup final that you have ever seen?
It is the greatest final for a neutral. As someone with a team playing, a roller coaster of emotions, and then the final result would make me not want to call it the greatest final of all time, but it was entertaining. Well, the first 70 minutes were not very entertaining to me, but it was an entertaining game. I think the ref got most of the decisions right. So yeah, it was a good final. Most finals, that I can remember, have either been one-sided or drab affairs, because nobody wants to lose. You can always remember that Spain and Netherlands final, but this one, you can see both teams really pushed, and you can tell that they wanted to win it within the allotted time, and they didn't want to go to penalties, and that's something you want to see.
Only the third final to have gone to penalties, 6 goals before the penalty shootout, and one hell of a memorable hat trick from Kylian Mbappe that unfortunately didn't win the match. For you, was this the best World Cup final ever?
Yeah, so like you just said, the finals that I remember seeing is from 94 onward. And I mean, obviously, if I'm watching from 94 onward, that means I've seen my team lift the trophy twice. But that's neither here nor there.
That would make two of us.
I guess so, but I mean that was 2 to add to what we had before. Well, you just got 2. So
5 is greater than 2, gentlemen. 5 is greater than 2.
Yes, of course. So 2010 was the one final that I actually did not get to see all of it, because I was telling some friends of mine today that I was a best man in a wedding on that day, and it was only because it was one of my very, very closest friends. I told him he was lucky that it was him. Otherwise, I was not coming until after the game was finished. But
who puts a final or a wedding when they say it was a final?
Yeah, he said that he was not aware because he understood what that meant.
Selfish man. But what a selfish man.
His wife, he allowed his wife to set the date, and then when he recognized what it was, then anyhow, I'm moving on. So yeah, so that was the one final of all of them that I did not see. In terms of just end-to-end, but I can't even say necessary end-to-end action, because this game didn't have a lot of end-to-end action until France scored their first goal. Because before then, Argentina was just dominating the game. But from the time France scored that first one, it was on like the boy corn. That was the best 50 minutes of World Cup final football I have ever seen in my entire life. Because Argentina, well, I mean, we'll get to it shortly. But what I saw in terms of spectacle, in terms of energy, in terms of drive, and as Loki said just now, the desire to finish the game within 90 minutes and not take it into extra time and potentially penalties. What we saw today was fantastic. I cannot remember a final that could be anything close to that, because usually you can get good games in the semifinals. Semifinals is usually where teams will go all out to win. But when they get to the final now, they're nervous. Nobody wants to make a mistake. They don't want to be the one to cost their team the title. But when Argentina runs out the way that they did, France has no choice but to try to work their way back into the game. And then from there, it is all helter skelter. And as a neutral, I mean, I guess I was as neutral as it could possibly be with the two teams that I dislike the most playing in the game. But as a neutral, I had to appreciate what I was seeing because it was not all top quality football, but it was a top spectacle of a game.
Forget that France missed a chance to get their third World Cup and one of the few nations to go back to back. AJ, was this one of the best World Cup finals of all time?
Justin, you are asking the wrong person this question. I cannot answer you. I cannot answer you objectively, and I'm not going to. I don't give an RH if this was the best World Cup final or not. I don't care.
Agreed.
My team lost. Listen to me, right? Listen to me, right, guys? Listen to me, right, guys? We're all about the same age or so, right? I've been some. No, hold on. Sorry. Let me get you this. I've been supporting France since 1998, so I've been there through the ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
My team just lost, and people messaged me telling me, "Oh, that was a good game, bro." I don't give up. You serious? I don't care. Justin and listen, Justin, Neil,
insensitive.
Mario Loki, Ken, I know this is on the agenda. I know this is the question to ask, but I do not care. I'm not going to answer this question. My team lost.
Let it out, brother. Let it out.
I guess we don't need to ask. Well, it makes no sense asking AJ the very next question. So, Ken, I'm going to pose it to you. For 80-something odd minutes, as y'all mentioned, Argentina did indeed dominate this game, but some way, somehow, Kylian Mbappe, and that's all I need to say. How did Argentina let France back in this game, or was this a situation where Kylian Mbappe was just too good and he led an unlikely, improbable comeback?
So I think that there are a lot, well, obviously for a situation like that to occur, a lot of things have to happen. I'm not going to try to highlight all of them because I have other esteemed gentlemen on the panel who would have seen things from a different perspective. However, I think one of the first mistakes that was made by Scaloni, the head coach of Argentina, was when he took off Angel Di Maria around the 65th minute. Now, I understand that Di Maria may have had some sort of injury concerns coming into the game, but at the same time, this is the World Cup final, and Angel Di Maria was out there slapping Koundé around his head every time he looked at him. He took the ball, he beat him inside, he beat him outside, until I see Di Maria take a seat on the floor and tell me, boss, I can't go anymore. He is going to keep running on that field. So in taking Di Maria off the field, it now took away the attacking impetus that Argentina had on that wing, which allowed Koundé now the opportunity to get further forward and be more influential on the attacking phase of the game, which is one of the things that Deschamps likes to do, because with him pushing forward, then it allows the wingers to go inside. They can invert the wings and have more attacking presence going forward. That was a huge blunder in my estimation by Scaloni in that point. And then when Kingsley Coman came on, he hot up the wing that obviously, well, we saw Dembele got some substituted in the first half. Coman should have been that sub at that time, because Dembele did absolutely nothing in the game except for give away the opening penalty. And when Coman came on, he was the spark. He was what gave them the impetus now, attacking wise, to be able to do the things that they did coming on to the end of the game. But I think for me, it started with Scaloni taking off Di Maria, because if you keep Di Maria on, then Koundé isn't able to get involved in the attack. Every time he steps forward, he's leaving a big gap behind him anyway, and the midfield was not rotating over to cover that space, but really couldn't, because if they try to rotate that way, Messi was then going to be left one-on-one on the other side. So there were things, if like Scaloni wanted to continue in the vein that they were going, when he took off Di Maria, maybe he should have brought on Paul Dybala, that hardly got a kick in this entire tournament. He probably should have brought on Dybala, because at least Dybala would have been able to occupy Koundé in that side, but he brought on another left back, which meant that it was a purely defensive substitution. And Argentina, while they've had an improved defensive record, if they're depending on the likes of Otamendi in the back, their defense is always going to be suspect, and France was then able to exploit that going forward.
Do you agree, Mario? I know Ken said there's a lot more you want to add, or is there something else you want to add for leading into France's furious comeback?
The introductions of Marcus Thuram, Kolo Muani. I thought Kolo Muani was fantastic when he came on. His desire and his attitude kind of, light a fire under the rest of the team, because the guys were lethargic and nervous, and I was like, you've been here before, like play like you have been here before. So I was very surprised at how France was playing early on in the game. I know for this tournament, Deschamps has decided to surrender possession in most of the games and try to get teams on the counter and stuff like that, unless Griezmann was having a good game. But the introduction of those two guys after Giroud and Dembele were replaced, I thought really changed the game for France. The penalty decision, when I first saw it, I was like, this may be a little soft, but I'll take it. And from there, the guys just went from strength to strength to claw back the match. So I can't really fault the comeback. I thought the comeback was great, but Kolo Muani, outside of Mbappe's goals, Kolo Muani is the man of the match for me on the France side.
We're still here for you, Ajay. Don't think that we forgotten you. Don't think that you can't let out the frustration. Don't think you can't cry here, because this is indeed a safe space. Neil is not a bit more accepting and tolerant, so I can pat you on your back and ask you, in your estimation, what led to France coming back in this game?
I think the subs. The subs were more tactical than anything. But I think they were like a huge turning point in the game. In the semifinal, bringing on Thuram was like a big deal for us. Like it helped very much. Even though Mbappe went central, but it still allowed us to have one man attacking in that regard. Just getting forward and attacking the opposing defense. So I think the same thing happened here. No, I will say, I don't know if I would have taken off Giroud at the half like he did. That's another discussion, though. Dembele was out of the game. He was out of the entire competition. So I don't really mind that, but it was just a lot to have to take place. And then I think after that, but the subs later on, essentially, I think they brought us back into the game. They allowed Mbappe, because it allowed Mbappe to go back out into a wide position, and then that is what caused him to score the 2 goals. And then we don't know what happened from there. So
there's no need to be solemn here, because I'm going to give you the opportunity now to show your pearly whites here and feel good about yourself. because we're going to talk about arguably the best player in the world right now, Kylian Mbappe. So I'm going to start with Ajay. Don't again see a space. You can cry, you can let it all out because Neil is like, even though he probably will make an appearance or two. But I want to say that's 12 goals in 14 World Cup matches, time great Pele, and this is before he's even turned 25. Can we safely say no that Kylian Mbappe is the world's best football player?
We can, and we should. We can and we should. But Messi has not retired, so there will be people that are saying Messi.
But
even in the Messi,
I mean, that is retiring. Huh? He's about to go to the United States, so that is really retiring. But
yeah, but still, Mbappe has been the best player for at least a year and a half in the world. For at least a year and a half. He has been. But people will not tell you that because Messi is still playing. That's my point I'm trying to make. Mbappe, listen, I watched Kylian Mbappe score 3 penalties a day in the same corner. You know how much testicular fortitude it takes for you to go in the same corner for the entire game?
Ask Harry Kane.
No, we're not talking English here. No, no.
I'm just saying though. Either way, listen, Mbappe is the most dynamic player that we've seen. Like this man is beyond generational talent, and I honestly think that I really hope that he leaves PSG because they're not a club. They're not a club, but that's a different discussion. The fact of the matter is, like, despite what other teams game planned against him, he has been, in my opinion, one of the best players in the tournament. I still think he was more influential than Messi in this tournament. I still think so. I think so.
Agreed.
And granted, this is a man who, when we came here to do the predictions, I said that Messi was going to be the Golden Ball winner because they're going to give it to him. But I think that Mbappe was more influential than Messi was in this competition, right? This man is 23 years old. If he avoids injury, and knock on wood, as long as Messi has for his career, this man has at least 3 more World Cups. And what is 12, 13 World Cup goals now?
12 goals in 14 World Cup matches.
There we go. I know people are saying that we rely solely on Mbappe. I don't think we did. I don't think. We didn't. We actually did not rely solely on Mbappe. But the talent that this man has, it is something beyond anything that we see every single day. This is a Ronaldo, R9, Messi, CR type of talent that we're going to see. And he's going to lead us in the future. So, as disappointed as I am, I will say to end this that Mbappe is the best player in the world right now. He is.
I'm gonna
best in terms of most dynamic. I don't want to hear about Benzema. I mean, I like Benzema too. I don't want to hear about the World Player of the Year. He's the most dynamic player because I've been telling people throughout this entire World Cup, you cannot stop Mbappe 1v1. You cannot.
Impossible.
You can't.
I'm going to break up the French love here because I know that Mario is coming to give an orgasm on this. So before we go on and on and on, I get some non-biased opinions here. Ken, 12 goals in 14 World Cup matches, 23 years old. Is Kylian Mbappe now the world's best player?
It is going to be very difficult to come up with any other name that you can give it to in this moment than Kylian Mbappe. As much as Messi is still playing football, while he was the player of the tournament, he was not the best player at the tournament.
Not nearly.
When you look at Cristiano Ronaldo, Ronaldo scored 20-odd goals last season. This is down from him scoring 40 to 60 every season. So you can see that his powers are on the decline. And currently, Ronaldo is looking for a club. He's looking for a job. He's unemployed. So it cannot be him. And when we look at who used to be in that realm below the two of them, so it would have been the Benzemas and those kinds of people who have been injured and or inconsistent. You look at what Mbappe has been doing this entire time. The only name that gets any kind of reference or mention close to his is Erling Haaland. And Haaland was not able to get his team to the World Cup. So therefore, he was not able to push his team all the way to the final of a World Cup. When you see what Kylian has been able to do this entire time, you have to give it to him at this moment. There is nobody in world football who is currently playing at the level that Mbappe has been playing at for a while. And like AJ, I would like to see Mbappe leave PSG because PSG, unfortunately, that's a club that is not going to go anywhere. They're not going to be successful. They're not going to, they're going to be successful at home. But when they get on the continent, they just don't have it. They turn into Tottenham Hotspur when they step in the Champions League. So when you take all that into consideration, Mbappe is it. Like for what our Arsenal team currently lacks, which is a finisher. If Kroenke were to sanction that deal and Mbappe was to turn up in the Emirates, we will be favorites for everything because he is just that good.
Well, I don't know, and I have to hear Mario here, but we do because he's actually on the show. So we will turn now the agent for Kylian Mbappe, none other than Mario Loki. Take it away.
You've known me for a long time, and I'm not the type to like have favorite players or anything. I'm more of a team person. But Kylian Mbappe is probably the most dynamic center forward that we've seen probably since Henry in his prime and Brazilian Ronaldo. Like he is unstoppable, and the only knock against him is the league that he plays in. With PSG kind of being a big fish in a small pond, so his talents are being utilized against players that are not as good as those in La Liga or the Premier League. But he is an excellent player, and I think it would be fair to say he's probably the best attacker in the world at the moment.
Well, sure than I thought it would be. I mean, y'all three.
But who else can contest him? Erling Haaland is probably the only other person. And he has had fitness concerns throughout his career, right? Kylian Mbappe is hardly ever injured, and he's doing it at club level and he's doing it at the international level. Karim Benzema, even though he plays for France, I've never been a fan of Karim Benzema. I've always thought he's been a hot and cold player and a player who suffers with injury. He had a very good calendar year and he's the deserved Ballon d'Or winner. Ronaldo is losing his powers. Messi is Messi, and he's an all-time great. But right now, Kylian Mbappe is easily the best player in the world. There's no need for me to stretch it out or go any further.
If there was a need for me to put this on a docket, other than the fact that I had to watch this guy scored 3 goals in a World Cup final, I had to lose. Like, that was unfortunate.
And to add to that, I'm glad that he did it today because, there are a lot of people out there who in their minds, football is just Messi and Ronaldo, They don't know about anybody else. So today they were able to see that there's another player out there who's just as good or close to good as those guys that we've been seeing for the last, 10, 15 years.
Who was not good, though, and expected to be. I don't think I forgot Loki because I was not on the show, but I watched it, so I kept the receipts. Germany, who did not even make yes, I kept the receipt. Germany, who did not make it out of the group stages. Spain, who crashed out in the very next round, the knockout round. Ken, I'm going to start with you. Germany, Spain, was it another team? Was it another player? Who was this year's World Cup's biggest disappointment for you?
Mala, it will have to be seen. Let me start with the Belgium too. Mala, it has to be Belgium. Belgium
Correct.
has to be the biggest disappointment relative to expectations, because I know they're going. I can see Ajay face already. He can say he didn't expect nothing from Belgium, so how Belgium can be biggest disappointment. I know that's where you coming, right? But anyhow, Belgium came into this World Cup ranked as, if not the highest ranked,
They were number one.
one of the highest. Okay, so yeah,
one.
so they were number. If all right, so number one in the world, highest ranked European team. What do you mean you're finishing bottom of your group? No, I expected Belgium to at least make it, let's say, semifinals, quarter semis, because remember, I got on this show, on this panel, and I said that I had Thibaut Courtois to be the Golden Glove winner, and that I had Kevin De Bruyne to be the
hashtag by takes. Continue.
There you go. So I'm here to own up to
There
mine,
are
because
many
I'm not
bad
waiting
takes.
for nobody to call me on it, right? Belgium was an embarrassment. They were an embarrassment not just for me picking them, but they were an embarrassment for themselves. With the infighting that they had in their camp from the beginning of, well, I gotta say, from even before the tournament began, when Kevin De Bruyne is going to say that the team is too old to be able to achieve anything, even though this is their golden generation. That is an extremely bad look. That is a horrible look. And then when the team gets knocked out and they don't really concede any goals, you have Jan Vertonghen then saying, well, maybe it is just our attack that's too old, because basically the defense held up their end of the bargain. You're here depending on the remains of Eden Hazard. You're still trying to trot out the Toby Alderweireld's of the world.
Why is Alderweireld Vertonghen still starting?
There you go. So now you come into this tournament. You come in the people tournament, and Michy Batshuayi is your number one striker, because Cement Pegs himself, Romelu Lukaku, is hurt. So what are we doing?
I would have
It has to be Belgium.
We built Thomas Vermaelen to play at left back.
There you go. There you go. Because we just rolling out all the cadavers and sticking them on the field, right? What are we doing? I mean, as soon as the tournament was done for them, Roberto Martinez said, but you know what? Thanks. It's been fun. I can see y'all later, because he knows that really and truly after this golden generation, there's not much behind them. Yeah. Because if there was, he would have probably had some new blood coming into the team already. It was an extremely bad look, extremely bad tournament for Belgium. I am embarrassed for myself that I picked them for anything.
I was embarrassed for Ken too when I watched the episode. I'm like, you don't pick Belgium to do anything like these. This is,
but they've been decent.
But these
it was a good pick.
No, Mario. Belgium
quarters to semis. That's my expectation. Quarters to semis. I thought they could have kept it together that long.
Belgium waited the last two World Cups as their chance to win World Cups. That was their chance. But going forward, you just have to know Belgium is one of those teams that, like Mario would say, almost like Netherlands, just happy to be here, and we're gonna. I'm gonna promise so much, but when knockout football is ready to play, not Belgium.
They didn't have the heart for it.
They ain't got the heart for this here.
The football too big for that.
You ain't got the gifts. Football too big for that. But who else is the football too big for? Are you going with Belgium? Is it Germany? Or do you have an even bigger disappointment than these two world powers not making knockout stages?
Well, you said both of those, and that's an interesting conversation. And I did have both Belgium and Germany going through. Into what capacity I will not mention. However,
shame on you two.
No, I mean Belgium. I thought it would have been a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Germany, I think in their case, I don't. I'm not sure if we're going to get into this, but I don't think Germany was unlucky. Well, I think they were unlucky, but I don't think they didn't deserve to go through. That was just like the way the group played out. The one team that I'm actually disappointed in that I thought would have gone through is actually Ghana. I actually had Ghana to go through in their group.
I told you. I told you.
No, I did. I had Ghana to go through, and it's not just that they didn't barely make it. They were kind of awful, though.
I
They
told
were
you,
awful.
man.
Yeah, no. On the flip side, and Ken could testify to this. I had Morocco as my dark horse. I did, but I expected Ghana to actually go through to the next round and like at least be knocked out in the round of 16. But I thought they could have actually won their group, and they just could not do it at the end of the day. And that was the most disappointing to me. I mean, yes, the Belgium thing, yes, but I don't want to have a clean sweep of Belgium. Germany, like I said, it wasn't the most disappointing to me, but Ghana finishing at the bottom of the group with what, 3 points in 3 games? I did not expect. So they were the most disappointing to me.
Loki, you two, for some odd reason, expect a lot from Belgium. And
No.
you got
Go ahead.
so did they come to you already? Did they start with you? Who was
No.
your biggest disappointment?
The biggest disappointment was Germany, for sure. No, my issue with Germany is I thought they would have improved from last World Cup, right? Last World Cup, they went out in the first round as well. And I think they're still paying for their sins for the unceremonious departure of Mesut Ozil, right? But I thought under Hansi Flick that this group of players would have improved. But watching them, this seems, I don't know, their attack was a bit blunt. I thought starting Thomas Muller up front was an awful idea, especially since you have, more prolific players on the team on the bench. And when those players came on, you could see that there was a bit more impetus. There was a bit more desire to win. I can't remember the guy's name, who's currently the leading scorer in the Bundesliga. But I thought that Germany made critical mistakes. My dark horse was Spain, and they started off very hot with the 7-0 demolition of Costa Rica. But then they just started to do Spain things, just keeping the ball, not looking very dangerous in attack. And when you do that, it always comes back to bite you. So, and then the other team I thought would have done well was England, but they had to play the juggernaut, which is France. So hard luck. But I thought England had a decent tournament.
To be fair to the English, they did make the semifinals and they did give you a run for your money. So I can't say they did do well.
The quarterfinals.
Oh, quarterfinals. So sorry. And I mean, like the reality situation, they played the defending champs, they played them well, and a team that was, unfortunate to lose. So I can't say that England was a disappointment. You got the quarters, and you just played a better team. That's the reality situation.
But those are the three teams. That I remember on the first show, thinking would do well outside of France. But yeah, Germany was a big disappointment for sure because they have not improved since the last World Cup. But as I said, they're paying for their sins for treating Mesut Ozil badly. So long may it continue.
So for me, like reality situation, like y'all, unlike y'all, I am never ever fooled by Belgium. Like I've seen what they are. I've seen them for who they are, and especially because I am not a fan of. Oh my God, the name just failed me. Mario called him the big brute.
Lukaku.
Lukaku is not a good footballer. I don't care what anybody said. I don't care how many goals he scored.
That's a bit harsh.
No, he's a talented big brute. He just is bigger than.
Well, I said a big brute then.
Has absolutely no skills whatsoever.
You sound like a disgruntled Chelsea fan.
No. But when he came to Chelsea, right, I had a bunch of friends in the group chat, my former workplace in Nation, and I was telling them, they were all saying, "Oh, are you happy?" I'm like, "This man is not good, though. I don't know what you all are seeing, but this man is not good. Like, this guy is, well, at the time, physically imposing. He's strong, he's fast, but I am not a soccer fan, and I know that he doesn't have the skills.
He's just not graceful. He's just not graceful.
No. His first.
He also doesn't have a good first touch.
And
Remember,
that's
call
the
him submit pegs for a reason.
He has the worst first touch of any professional footballer, and I'm talking about professional footballers that probably playing in Guatemala. This man is. I have never seen a supposed out-and-out striker that has a worse first touch than him. I remember watching, and I'm probably because I am, a bit privileged to have seen likes of Gabriel Batistuta. And, there was a time he had a nickname called Batigol. And you know why?
Mm-hmm.
Because the moment that the commentator was saying Bata, trying to finish Batistuta, it was goal! This is what strikers are. That is a top-class striker with a top-class first touch. And the moment that you tell me that you don't have any dribbling skills, you don't have any proper first touch, you can't be world-class. So for the mere fact that you are still rolling up people like Romelu Lukaku, nonsense. Absolute rubbish. It really, for me...
Belgium, not to cross you, Belgium had a plethora of issues, to be fair. Like, their manager isn't very good either. I think Roberto Martinez probably has the best agent in the world, but he still gets jobs. Their backroom staff isn't very good. Henri's not a very good coach. And, they'd have a lot of, egocentric players. But they should never have been eliminated in the first round. There's too much talent on that team.
They missed their chance in 2014 and 2018. That was their golden generation.
2018 for sure.
That was past and gone. But I don't want to dwell on the negative too long. I'm Ken Ned. You want to accentuate the positives. That is what happiness is. And in that regard, Ken, we've had a lot of stories, positive stories. Forget the issues in Qatar and Ronaldo dying. Unfortunately, rest in peace, one of the best American football journalists there are. But we've had some great football stories, whether it is the unearthing for the rest of the world for Kylian Mbappe, the Messi finally getting that all-elusive World Cup title. But could it be, Ken, that the most memorable part of this World Cup is Morocco being the first African nation to reach a Final Four?
It's definitely up there. It definitely is up there for sure. Because the great Pele, who is, at least at the time of our recording, he was resting in hospital still. He said that he anticipated that we would have had an African champion of the world by now, long before now. And having Morocco get as far as they did in this tournament, all the way to the semifinals, is a massive achievement. And it is one of the things that we are going to remember this World Cup for. I think, though, for me, the one thing that I am going to remember this World Cup for is just its timing, where it has landed in our regular football season, and the effect, the impact that it has already had from last season and this season going through into next season. Because this is, like, what we have seen, we've had a fantastic tournament. We can't say otherwise, honestly. But for the amount of adjustments that the footballing calendar has had to make to accommodate this tournament, falling when it has, the number of players who we would have hoped to see on the world stage that could not make it because they got injured with their clubs and did not have enough time to recover. Just thinking about how condensed our footballing calendar has been, just to be able to have this great tournament in a wonderful country like Qatar. That is what I'm going to remember most coming up from this World Cup. That we have had to make so many accommodations for something that, according to the reports that the U.S. State Department and others have made, was obtained through nefarious means. That is what is going to stick with me coming out of this tournament. You're muted, Justin, so we can't hear what you're saying.
Oh, yeah, I was trying to watch some football here on the sides of NBC. Went into Sunday Night Football and not let the people call me out on my own show. But yeah, I don't think we can say alleged anymore. We have to, because people have been banned and put out of football. And currently, our own Jack Warner is facing some serious charges while he's being extradited. Yes, it's our own, because there's a point in time that a very own government minister was his right-hand man from Barbados. So, yeah, you can say our own Jack Warner. You may not want to him. But AJ, we're going to update you here now and try to get, what will you remember this World Cup for?
Justin, I'm so glad you came to me next, because from the time you talk about our Jack Warner has been a crook from the time, from before I could grow a beard, brother. Jack Warner has been a but you know what? This is not just about Jack Warner. What I will remember the most is I will make sure my children and grandchildren know that this 2022 was not the FIFA World Cup, it was the Messi World Cup. This World Cup was tailored for Lionel Messi to win before he retires. FIFA, I'm gonna let it out here now. This World Cup, FIFA thought that Messi would have a World Cup by now. And when he didn't, and after Saudi Arabia won that first game, not every single call, let me not be unfair. The majority of the calls for Argentina in this World Cup went for them in this way. I don't think I've ever seen a World Cup where a team has won 5 penalties in 7 games.
Ridiculous.
A man even won a penalty after he got a shot and he and the keeper clambered into each other. A man won a penalty after a ball was coming into the box for a corner. The keeper went up, tried to fan it away, barely got to it, but then the end of his hand brushed the nose of Lionel Messi. I watched Lionel Messi today go down on a free kick because he ran into a defender, one of my defenders that won the header, and because he went down face down, the
stop play immediately.
The team, and then the medical team was called on. Listen to me, right? I said at the beginning of this competition that Argentina were my favorites, and I begrudgingly said so. After things went on, and Ken, I'm not even sure if I told you this, but I had to do a bracket for a friend of mine from Grenada. So I had France, Argentina in the finals, and I could even show you all this to prove it. I have no reason to lie about this. And because I remember giving him a whole spiel, I was like, bro, if this happens, just know, I know I told you Argentina before, but I will be backing France. So you put whoever you want after that. To me, it was so blatant that this World Cup was for Messi. Messi was the poster boy for this World Cup going into Qatar. In Qatar, there were actual billboards saying, well, yeah, Messi is coming to Qatar. Messi is coming to the World Cup. That is what I will remember. The first World Cup I watched was 1998, which is why this is the man that's on my back. Look here. That's why this man is on my back. 98. Every single World Cup I've watched after that, obviously there's been controversy, there's been bad calls and whatnot, but ultimately I've never felt that the team who's won has unjustly won. This is the first year I have felt like, you know what, this entire tournament was tailored for them to win, and the officiating has been for them to win. I don't care how bad anyone else says that Argentina deserve this. And you know what? They do to an extent. But I know from the beginning of this competition, this was for Argentina to win.
Facts.
Justin, Ken, Mario, this is what I will remember. And this is what my children will know. And this is what my grandchildren will know. And their children and grandchildren will know. Okay, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in a World Cup. In my favorite sport ever. This is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. 5 penalties in 7 games. Seriously? Go and look back at them. Tell me that all 5 of them were penalties.
Not they want to do it
for
sure.
You know what? This is not even about today, because the reality is at the end of the day, France had the chance to win the game. We had so many young players on the team. They were not ready for this penalty shootout. Argentina have a better penalty goalkeeper. They have players who had been in that situation before. They were more prepared. Fair enough. But I'm not going to. I'll be damned if I let anyone else who doesn't watch this sport and who jumped on Messi's train, for want of a better word, tell me that this World Cup was not tailor-made for Lionel Messi to win before he retired. That's what I remember. My children will know that. My grandchildren will know that. And the entire heritage of the Williams family will know that.
So the member for St. Michael's South, we'll move on. Mario.
What can I say?
After the speech in Parliament that we got there just now for the removal of Messi from this World Cup, honestly,
the honorable member.
The honorable member of St. Michael's South.
Sorry, man. I'm sorry. I had to get it out at
Don't be sorry, brother.
I had to get
Don't
it
be sorry, brother.
I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry.
On this. You have not seen me in a GreenBaje Packers rant as yet. Trust me. Don't ever be sorry. I don't know how you follow that from the honorable member of St. Michael's South. But Mario, indeed, what will you remember the 2022 World Cup for?
I won't be as aggressive as Ajay. And the thing is that he's completely right. He's completely right. Everything he said, he's correct. And I don't even think it is subjective. But what I will definitely remember was that it was a good tournament. It was exciting. And that is what you want from an international tournament. You want upsets, you want high scoring games, you want drama, you want, controversy in terms of, was the ref right? Was the ref wrong? That's all part of the game. And I remember, some of the tournaments being a bit, you kind of knew how it was going to go, especially in the early matches. But in this tournament, I would say, the excitement and the intrigue, especially from teams like Morocco, Croatia trying to get back to where they were based on how well they played in 2018. The Netherlands, coming back to life after being irrelevant for so long. I was happy to see them, playing well. So I would say, the excitement and the results for the tournament. And what I will remember is the resilience of France through all of the hell that the team I support went through, with the injuries, with the sickness in the camp, with having to adapt to these young and newer players coming into the fold. Didier Deschamps being able to adjust and learn on the fly how to deal with teams. I will remember that for sure. And even though we lost in the final, I will remember this team and its resilience and being able to get back to the final and a hair away from repeating. Big save by Emi Martinez to deny Kolo Muani at the end there. So those are the two things I'll remember.
Guys,
but once again, just Ajay is completely right.
Of course,
completely right.
Not that y'all are sharing the same nation with the same jersey, but of course Ajay is right.
Because Messi had a ball and can't see a yellow card yet. You being serious?
Has he been carded for the tournament?
This is the same way that the previous generation saw Maradona hand a ball into the goal. But yet,
I thought it was okay.
When it comes to our generation now, they always tell us that Maradona is the greatest. You feel my father tell me anything more than Maradona is one of the best footballers he ever see?
Mine too.
I found out at the later date that Maradona hand the ball into the goal. And furthermore, they still make it seem like it's a myth. Listen, this Messi handball, Messi hand, and I'm not saying he stopped the goal, he scored the goal with it, but Messi didn't even get booked. Messi did as he pleased in this entire tournament.
Yeah.
Has not seen a yellow card.
Today he was pulling back players. I wasn't even booked.
You know what? I'm done. I'm done.
Lionel, go as you please, Messi. Checkers are not football. Ken, AJ, Mario, I'm not Neil, so I won't bring up the receipt, so I will let you all do it for yourselves. Before we hop on out of here, I want you to tell the guys your picks, and you can go in whatever order you all decide. But I want you to let the audience know that did not watch the prior episode your initial picks and what actually transpired. Go right ahead. Whoever wants to take the show.
I'll go first. I remember saying I thought Germany would have done very well, but I also said that France would repeat. That I was leading with my heart and not my head based on the injuries and stuff like that. So I was almost right. We did well. And I was happy to see Giroud scoring again as a big Giroud fan. So
Ken or AJ, and I mean, I'm talking about not just who would win. I'm talking about all the picks from golden ball, golden boots,
okay. All of those picks. Well, I got everything else wrong. I thought Serge Gnabry would have top scored. I can't remember who I picked for the Golden Glove. I don't remember. Well, I picked Manuel Neuer as well. I was on the Germany train hard, but that didn't work out.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was trying to remember all the picks I made. I remember I got most of the teams coming out of the group stage. I remember I got a lot of those. The one that I was paying closest attention to is the one I always remember, which is the one I was right, AJ was wrong, between Wales and the US. That one was a major point of contention for us, so we did talk about that.
I did say it was an easy one too for England US, and you guys laughed at me.
But I said that I had US to come out of the group. AJ was the one that thought that Wales would have been better than the US.
Impossible.
Not necessarily.
AJ said that. We have
He did.
clip on Instagram with AJ saying from the US. Oh yes.
So I know when it came to the picking of the individual awards, I've already confessed to the ones I got wrong, which was I had Belgium to go far. I had Courtois to win Golden Glove, which he didn't do. I had De Bruyne to win Golden Ball.
Right. I picked De Bruyne as well. Yeah.
Which wasn't even close. But the one that I did get right
Mbappe.
was that Kylian was going to win the Golden Ball.
Yeah, you did.
That was the one that I picked correctly out of all of it. And even then, that was not even like a foregone conclusion because he and Messi were literally having their own personal duel today to see who was going to get the Golden Boot. So
if it was based on penalties, maybe Messi would have won it. But talking about in-game football.
Well, I mean, even then, when they got to the penalty shootout, both of them scored.
No, I'm talking about the Messi's goal contributions and mainly penalties.
Oh, well, yeah, that too.
Mainly? You mean all? You mean all? Anyhow.
He did score one.
So
he did score one in the field of
yeah, that's shot. That's shot. Yeah, that's shot. Anyhow.
But that was in the group stage, though. That was when he scored against Mexico.
No, he also scored one today in the field today as well.
Mm.
Oh yes, that is correct. That was
the tapping. He did. He scored a tapping. So my prediction. The thing is,
come on, no, AJ.
I love the bitterness. I love it. That's usually my job.
I got some things right. I got some things wrong. And Ken, you could stop me if I'm being if I'm exaggerating here. Like I said earlier, I did call Morocco for my dark horse team. I don't think I showed this to Ken, but I have no reason to lie about this. I had to do a bracket for a friend of mine. I had France, Argentina as a final, right? I think I said on this show, I had Messi. As long as Argentina gets to that final, Messi's going to be the golden ball winner. I think I got the golden boot winner wrong. 'Cause I can't remember who I said, but I know I didn't say Mbappe. And I don't like to pick my own players. Like, you know, I don't want that expectation upon myself. So, but I I'm this is one of the times I'm so upset that I'm right. Because I had Argentina as my favorite to win this entire competition. And one of the things I mentioned is the fact that Messi is going to have the favor of the referees. And he did. And I'm upset that I'm right in this case because it came against my team. And the thing is, I'm not even upset about today because we had the chance to win the game today. Right? But with the inexperience and all that, we just didn't. But it is just.
Let it out, brother. Let it all
out. Now, Justin, you don't understand. What?
My God, my Lord. My Lord.
Oh, Ken, you're awful.
Nah, well, Mario, Ken is a guitarist. Ken is a musician, so that's why he can join there, right?
He practicing.
He is. That's fine. I just I just didn't expect it to go this way today. In terms of my prediction, wait, what else did I get wrong? I mean, I got the other two semifinals wrong because I had Belgium going a bit far, Germany as well, further than they both did. But at the same time, I had Morocco going, you know. It's just it was right and wrong for me, and I feel in a bit of a bittersweet moment right now, but I'm upset to be right because I picked Argentina to win, and I hate it. I lost the final. I hate it.
Oh, I've been there, and if you've been a sports fan long enough, you will eventually see your team lose a final, unless you just.
I've seen it many times.
Unless you are recently born and you're a West Indies cricket fan, but that's a conversation for another day. If you want more football episodes, and we're talking real football, FUTBOL, then eventually you will see Mario Loki back here. You will always see GreenBaje. These are our Caribbean brothers, and you will see them back for another episode. But before they let us sign up, Ken, tell folks how to find the GreenBaje Podcast.
Yep. So as always, we are everywhere. So if you're not finding us, you're not looking for us, you just type in green like the color, JE, you will find us there. Our audio only podcast is on all platforms. You will find us live on YouTube. We try to be there every Tuesday, but because of life happening and me being sick this past week, we had to do an emergency cancel. But we will be back this week coming to break down what has been a wild day of NFL action. I don't know if AJ saw what happened at the end of the Patriots game, but if he has not, AJ, don't look at it now because you don't need a heartache.
I promise you I won't, because I saw the final score and then I'm like, you know what? I'll wait.
Yeah, that you can check that tomorrow. Please don't look at that today. So we will talk about. Yeah, we'll talk about what's happened in the NFL today. We'll also talk about the World Cup in general. We'll just do a quick recap of that. And of course, you know, we love having company with us. Justin has always been great being on our show, and we look forward to having him back with us again at some time near in the future.
Definitely not to talk about the NFL because the Green Bay Packers will not be making the playoffs. So when we get here talking sports, not talking about throwing a football, sure. But I joke, yeah. I'm here to trash on the Green Bay Packers whenever we get a chance. So for Ken and AJ of the GreenBaje Podcast, and please indeed go put that in. GreenBaje, wherever you go, is one of my favorite shows for sure. I don't miss a podcast. At GreenBaje Podcast, wherever you get a chance, listen to your socials, go give them a follow. So for Ken and AJ again of the GreenBaje Podcast, for Mario Loki of my from City Chat, but it's really not because I can't tell you watch. I am indeed Justin. Thank you so very much. And look back for us every single Monday. Live this Monday because, yeah, life happens, as Ken says. But every other Monday, 7 p.m., I want to say Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, we're live on YouTube. And for all our other short form content, you can hit us up. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. That's hashtag this just in. Please make sure to put in the hashtag none of you want Max Kelman's cold take. So again, for AJ and for Mario, I am Justin of hashtag this just in signing out. Thank you so very much.
I know that after tonight, you don't have to look up at the stars. No. I know.
Take a look at my dream world.
Tonight, you don't have to look up at the stars.
Chat, if you wanna come get it, then come for it. I'm so clean, my kick's nice, I'm Chuck Norris. Minute made the beat bounce, had to jump on it. Run for it, run, Gump Forrest Gump like hollow pumps, you gotta jump. No trouble, no double, I got a stunt. You don't have to look up at the stars. Make one wish, you're looking at a star. Swag so fresh, you can put it in the jar. And the way I change gear, you can put me in the car. I remember when me and Seif used to sneak in every concert door. Now I got my feet in. Every day is Gift Friday, no weekend.
You don't have to look up at the stars.